Same. So,
did you confirm with anyone?
Yeah.
Are you still echoing? Okay.
I don't think so. Even if I am, just gonna go with it.
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
What am I gonna do? All right. Let's go back to Florida, Holly.
Yeah, Florida. Yeah, grew up in Florida. Went to hair school in Florida.
Why?
What?
Why'd you go to hair school?
Why did I go to hair school in general?
Yeah.
We're going way back.
We're going way back. 'Cause we have an hour.
Well, there's pictures of me that my grandmother took. Because she's amazing like that. Of me doing my little friend's hair when I was like 3 years old. My sister's hair. And then a little Barbie head hair. And then, the 90s came around. I was really like into a sort of music scene. So I started being rebellious and doing my own hair. And then going to get my hair cut at Tony and Guy. Because I wanted the crazy mullets and red and white and all that stuff. And then I didn't actually think of it as a career that somebody did with their life.
Right.
I didn't know. I was a cook at a restaurant for a while, and I was thinking, is this what I'm going to do? And then I was cutting my friend's hair for money. This is like, I'm kind of fast forwarding through the steps. I was cutting my friend's hair for money, and I thought, well, that would be great if I could just do this all the time and get paid to do it all the time. So saved up money and went to the Aveda Institute in St. Petersburg.
Oh, cool. Very nice. So did you think that cooking might be an option? Like, were you into food like that?
No, I mean, I got a job at a restaurant through a friend after high school, and I was a hostess, and I quickly learned that was kind of brainless work, and then I wanted to be a cook in the kitchen. So I had to be a dishwasher for 3 months, and then they let me be a cook. And then, it was just kind of like going with the flow of life, like what was most interesting in the moment. I just had this job, and it was never like, I didn't like have a set of knives and like a little hat or anything. I was just like, I was just doing what was interesting me in the moment and making me a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Were you like creative generally speaking?
No. My family will probably beg to differ, but I mean, in my career now is the same as I've always been. I'm not just creative for the sake of creativity. I'm not sitting in quarantine, like making wigs or being creative because I need to let it out. That's not who I am. I'm creative when I'm inspired by a person. Like, that's why I prefer hair cutting over coloring. It's like that person in front of you. I feel a lot about the people and wanting to do something with a certain person. So I'm not extremely creative. I do like trends and like doing things that are cool and modern and different and changing it up and whatever, but I'm not gonna, like all the other hairdressers on your Instagram, I'm not doing like crazy wigs and shapes and all these things. That's not really who I am.
Mm-hmm. I think like the spectrum of what I like, which, is what generally goes on Lost Hairdressers, is good hairdressing, and I personally really like simple hair. I'm kind of like you. I don't have that drive to create a thing. It's not me.
Yeah.
When I see it, I love it. It's cool.
Me too.
But I look at your imagery and I love how accessible it is. And it's accessible. It's beautiful. It's not like overly polished. It's just really real hair.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Thanks.
It's really good. And the photographs that accompany it have captured your work in the right way.
Yeah, I got really lucky. My first agent was Tim Howard, and he just called in some favors and was like, nobody knows who this girl is. I don't even know what she can do, but work with her. And I got to do a few covers of like foreign Vogues within like my first 6 months of being on my own. So I got really lucky.
Is that after assisting or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the photographs of like hair that I've done, I've gotten to work with these amazing photographers because of that first agent that I worked with.
Cool. Okay. I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
So you did Aveda.
Yeah, I went to the Aveda Institute. I totally drank the tea too.
Yeah.
Do you hear about the whole Aveda tea? Like
a little bit. I've heard that, like, I don't know, Aveda's been the company I've had the least exposure to, I think. Out of all of these kind of big companies.
Okay. Yeah.
So tell me about the teas.
Well, before I went to school there before they got bought out by Estee Lauder. So they were sort of a cult thing, sort of like Toni and Guy. But for people who are into living a healthy life, doing yoga, an all-natural, non-toxic thing back then.
Right.
Now it's maybe a little different, but yeah, it was great. It was very calming, easy going school career. Actually, we even had when I was in hair school, we had an updo competition. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I don't like updos. Updos are so lame.
Yeah.
And then like 5 years later, I'm like, I love updos. I want to do a wedding.
Yeah.
It's funny how things change.
Yeah, for sure. You have to see like the right updo to comprehend it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I could not do it.
So did Aveda lead to New York?
No, I met a guy right before I started hair school who was in a band. He was always on tour. So I ended up moving right after hair school, which was 9 months. I moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee to live with him. And I lived there for 2 years, and I worked at a Bumble and Bumble salon there.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. It was a really cool salon. It's still like one of the cool salons. It was called Hair A Go-Go.
Okay.
And it was in downtown Chattanooga. They've changed locations now. They carry Bumble and Bumble.
Nice.
And that's how I got exposed to Bumble and Bumble. Oh, tack on to that story is that they had this incentive, like they do at salons, where if you sell a certain amount of product and reach a certain quota, then you get to go to New York City to take a class at Bumble and Bumble. Cool. And this was like my focus. I was like, I've never been to New York City. I really want to go. I want to do something more with my career. And I fucking kept hitting that quota, like every time. Just like doing it, not getting sent because I hadn't been there long enough. And that really pissed me off. She were like, well, these other people who've been here longer really need to go. So I quit. I bought a one-way ticket. I moved to New York City. I got a job at Bumble and Bumble.
Nice.
Yeah, so long story short.
Yeah. Obviously, the Bumble and Aveda thing, they weren't so worlds apart. Like, it worked?
Yeah. Well, when I started at Bumble, they suggested I become a colorist. And then I wasn't into that. So I don't know if you know, I worked at a styling bar inside of Bloomingdale's for Bumble and Bumble. And while I was working there, I was with my friend Zuleika and Michael and Sloan, all hairdressers. I think they've all worked with James on his team. We would have to style hair the rate was like $35. You came in. It's kind of like a dry bar before dry bar existed. And you got your hair styled in 20 minutes, no shampoo. And someone would just sit down and you'd have 20 minutes and we'd do beach waves, blowouts, updos. People were coming in for their wedding day it was crazy. We'd have like 15 appointments a day, just like nonstop, like braid crowns, fishtails, curling iron sets, the whole thing. I worked there for, Wilsey is Michael. He worked there with me.
Oh, nice.
We worked there I worked there for 3.5 years. So you know that book, what is that book? Outliers. It's about people who do something over and over and over again, and they kind of become like the master of it. We were going to work every day and doing just styling, no cutting, no coloring, just hair products, pins, hair ties, styling, every day, nonstop, for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So like the type of education and experience that you get in a salon is great, but you're cutting and doing blow dries, coloring, doing blow dries. You're not doing all these elaborate looks all day, every day. And so that sort of, that was my entrance into Bumble. And then it closed down. I was there from the moment it opened until the moment it closed, the styling bar. It closed down, and then I worked in the salon, in the Bumble salon for like a year after that, before I started working with James.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So all that time at the dry bar, were you getting educated?
Yeah,
too?
at Bumble. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was sort of like, when I moved to New York, I had, I was a hostess again at a restaurant. I didn't know what to do. So as I was putting in my resume over and over and over again at Bumble, I finally got a call, and they were like, we don't have any positions open for what you're looking for in the salon as someone cutting hair. So, but you can come work at the styling bar. You can still get the classes. You can still get all the education, styling classes, razor cut classes, everything. But you work at this separate place and you don't cut hair at all. So I just took it as a stepping stone, as my way to get in on the whole Bumble thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was that nerve-wracking that you were going to only be reliant on your styling, or were you pretty confident at that point?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, sometimes haircutting can be your crutch, just like anything else can be, right?
I wasn't good at haircutting then.
Oh, okay. Were you good at
And when I joined the styling bar, I had probably cut 1,000 people's heads of hair when I worked in Chattanooga, but I wasn't great.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of myself as great, and no light bulbs went on. I was just doing it.
Yeah.
I was just sort of coasting, and enjoying it, and enjoying the interactions with people, and being in the salon is so nice, especially when you're with a bunch of people that you love being with. But I wasn't like, this is my craft.
Yeah.
It was just what I did. I do hair.
Yeah.
And so when they asked me to work at the styling bar, I thought, great, because I would love to do hair for magazines and on celebrities and stuff. And that's where you do that, right? It's just styling. And so I did enjoy the styling at the styling bar part. But yeah, it really wasn't like, I didn't miss haircutting. It was just sort of like another thing. It's sort of like, just like I'm very adaptable.
Right.
So I just sort of went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you worked that styling muscle really, really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know the whole Bumble thing. You have to test out. You have to bring in a model. I remember the very first time I brought in a model to do the test out because I wanted to work backstage so bad. It's so funny.
You have to test out before you can go work backstage with somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's rigorous. So you have to bring in one model, if I remember correctly. You have to do a curling iron set. It's a classic curling iron set. On base, clipped, like a hairspray through the curl. Every little section has to be perfect. Then you have to do a double French twist. French twist on one side, or French twist on top of it. And everything has to look like Laurent Philippon, perfect. And then a perfect ponytail. And it's the whole blow dry, the thickening spray, the flat brush. It has to be all perfectly back and perfectly center and on the perfect part of her head. And the hair has to be wrapped perfectly around. And there was 2 educators who went around and judged you. And you had to bring the perfect model because they had to have like the perfect density hair for it. But you had to be able to do it quickly. Couldn't be too long, because then you get it all wrapped up in your hands, or you wouldn't be able to do it. It couldn't be too frizzy. It just had to be this perfect model. And the first time I went to test out, I remember saying to the girls who ran it, oh, I'm going to test out for backstage. Can you give me any tips? And I want to be on the list. I want to get in to do this test out. And they were like, you should really wait. You know, you work at the styling bar, which Bumble people, they didn't really consider us, you know, to be in the club as far as like Bumble went. And I brought a model anyways, even though they told me not to. And I did really bad, but I got on the C team. Okay. Which at Bumble there's A, B, and C. And the C team is just passing pins to people at shows. Passing them what they asked for and passing pins. And then the next time I got on the B team. And then the next time I got on the A team. And I met James by doing shows with Bumble.
Cool.
Yeah.
How long in between those test outs was there?
Every year.
Every year?
Once a year? I think every year, not every season. I can't remember. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago. But yeah.
Cool. So you met James?
Yeah, I met James at a show. Him and I are so much alike and so different as well. But we're both pretty relaxed. You know, as far as fashion goes, we're not drinking the Kool-Aid and thinking that we're the coolest kids in the world. We have an ability to sort of laugh at the whole thing, sure, while also take it seriously. Yeah. And have the good work ethic. But yeah, so we sort of hit it off and we became, you know, acquaintances. And he said, if you pay your way to go to Milan and Paris this season, I'll put you on all my shows. And that was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. It was so cool. I mean, yeah. James is like the coolest hairdresser, in my opinion. Still is, even after working with him. There wasn't anybody I really, really wanted to work with regularly besides James. So he asked me to do that. I went. And Sylvia Wheeler, she went as well. Yeah. That's where I met Sylvia. I think James connected us and we ended up staying together. But yeah, so I went. And that season, that first season, I think, might have been the first time I went or the second time I went to be on his shows. I was on almost all of Guido's shows as well. Wow. So I told James's team that, and they were like, it's totally fine because we respect Guido, you know, leave when you have to, arrive when you have to. They were really nice to me about it. And so I think because I was so busy with, Guido's stuff and James's stuff, I sort of had this, I just sort of had this energy flowing through me like, yeah, I'm so cool right now. Because sometimes you go over there to do shows and you get dropped from everything. And I went over to do shows and I was doing everything. I was getting up at 3 a.m. for Louis Vuitton and staying up super late for Valentino. And like, it was just great. And I had this like buzz. And I remember, can't remember exactly first season or second season I went over there, but James was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a new first assistant. When we get back to the States, we should talk about it. Yeah, so that's how that, and it's funny because he was like, I'm thinking about getting a new assistant. And I remember going, yes, I'll do that. Yes, yes, me. Absolutely. Tell me where to sign. Yeah. And he was like, we'll talk about it when we get back to the United States. And then he met up with me and he was telling me, you're going to have to do this and you're going to have to do this. And it's like going through my head. I don't even care. I've already decided, like, this is what I want to do. I want to quit Bumble and I want to work with you full time.
Man,
yeah. So that's what I did. Yeah. I was really lucky because I had tried to be a first assistant, as I'm sure I've told you the story. I had tried to be the first assistant multiple times before, and I got told that I was too small and I couldn't carry their bags.
Right.
You remember the story. It was, I still do, I had a really big chip on my shoulder about that. I only work with female assistants now, if I can help it, because of that. But yeah, so I was really lucky that James has a really female heavy team and totally supports women and understands that they work really hard and, you know, are just as good as men.
Well, yeah, because you're not huge. And
no.
when I first met you, or when I started like coming to New York to do shows with you guys, and I saw the amount of luggage that you handled, and you weren't asking for any help either. You were just like, it was unbelievable.
I mean, as a woman, the last thing you want to do is to draw any attention to the fact that you're a woman. In my opinion, in any industry, I don't know. If you ask for help, it's just, you can do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. He sent me home from London once with all 4 suitcases plus my own. I remember he was so nervous, but it was fine. Mm-hmm. I just took them one by one off the thing. I got a little carrier. I hooked them together. I just took my time. It's fine.
Yeah, that's great. So how did that time with James make, because he was the last person you assisted for.
Mm-hmm.
How did that shape you into like who you are now and what you're after now?
Yeah, great question. He has so much energy and he has so much to give, and he has so many moments where he's trying to learn and teach, and like he is very competitive in a good way, like wants to get this one thing perfect, you know, wants to get that job, wants to do, and that's not how I am. Mm-hmm. So sitting back and working with him and watching him with ease put everything he had into his career, I mean, it was very inspiring, and it made me realize what it really takes to get to that level that he's at. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot. Like, an example is we would fly to like London, or no, we would fly to like Paris, do a job. Oh wait, you're not leaving, you're staying, you're doing a job again. Oh wait, you're not going back to New York, you're actually going to fly to LA. You're going to stay there and you're going to do a job. Oh, you're going to go to Turks and Caicos and do a job. You're not going home. I remember at one point being like, I haven't been home in a month, and I thought I was going to be home like in a week. Yeah. And he was like, isn't it great? Mm-hmm. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it is really cool. It is really great. But it was a lot. It was really hard on me. And I can't be like all over the place like that. And I realized, like, you know, I want to do this career, but I can't do it at the same level as him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, how did he shape me? I mean, really, it's James that shaped me, but also like the environment we were in. Being able to watch Inez and Vanud work and understanding the etiquette to have on set. And then he works with like Mario Testino and Matt Marcus and Mario Sorrenti and just like everyone. And being on those sets, of course it's James and his amazing ability and technique, but being able to sit back and watch how the whole thing works at that level, I think that shaped me more. Mm-hmm. A lot of it in this industry is about talent, but a big chunk of it is about the hang.
Okay.
Explain that. Are you going to be obnoxious? Mm-hmm. Are you going to be slow? Are you going to understand the sense of urgency that you need? Are you going to understand that hair is not the most important thing today? You know, are you going to understand when somebody says, oh, I want the hair like this, what that means, not to ask questions and just go do the hair like this? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like that understanding. You don't say no. You don't say, what do you mean I don't understand? You don't say, can you show me a picture? You just do it. Mm-hmm. You know? And that definitely shaped me the most, just being like, whoa. This is all about how to read people and how to match people's expectations with reality. And like, you have to have technique to do that, of course, but my time with him, that's where I learned the most, was just sitting back and watching how he turned these requests from people into exactly what they wanted. But it was like the opposite of what they said. But somehow he understood, that's not what they mean. This is exactly what they mean, sort of thing. Yeah, that's where I grew and learned the most. And he helped me with that. Because in the beginning, I was like sitting in a chair in the middle of the set on my phone, eating food. You know, like not understanding what was going on. He'd be like, Holly, can you get up and get off the set and don't eat anything until anyone else is eating stuff? And like, he's really kind to me and really helped me learn, this is the etiquette, this is how it goes. That shaped me the most, because I find that the most valuable thing I have now working is the hang and how to be relaxed, chill, understanding. Because honestly, the last 5 years I've done nothing hair anyways. It's been like, they can hire anybody. I'm getting hired because I'm fast and I don't overdo it and I understand what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And I learned that from working with James.
I'm sure you're getting hired for more than that, but super valuable. Well, I mean,
yeah, I think that's very, very valuable. I mean, imagine somebody who is really technically amazingly talented and can do all these crazy things with hair. But, you know, when it comes down to like commercial campaigns for whoever, really, it's like, there's not a lot of that happening. It's a lot of easy, nothing hair. And when it is happening, obviously you need really skilled people like James or Shai or Guido or whoever. But a lot of times it's not. So it's like, do you want the person who's going to do it fast and make your day easier, or the person who's going to spend too much time making it look like they did nothing?
Yeah, right. And, you know, of course, there's room for all of that. But to be, it's great because it seems like you found your niche, like where you're comfortable and what you actually like to do, and you've been doing it long enough to know that. Would it be like safe to say that being with James on all of those situations, did it give you a preview of what you didn't want?
Yeah.
Which was
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a hard thing too when I got my first agent. You know, when you're like, James is like, he's hot right now, but he was really hot back when I left him. You know, it was right before he joined Orbe. And it's funny to say, but like hairdressers have their moments. And James has had lots of moments, but at this time he was having like a really big moment when I left him, because I turned 30 and I was just like, I can't run pins anymore. I can't feel bad about forgetting stuff anymore. I need to just be on my own. And I got my first agent, and they brought me on because they liked me, told me that immediately, that they thought I was genuine and that I had potential to have a good career. And they also brought me on because I worked with James. And they always referred to me in emails with new people, James Pecis' ex-first assistant. It was like, and I had a really hard time getting out from under that persona of me. Oh, you're going to be the next James Pecis. You've got tattoos all over your body and you're cool vibing and whatever. And it's just like, I'm not like that at all. I went in, and my very first meeting with Tim Howard, who's amazing, I was like, I like bridal hair. I love tons of makeup. I love extensions. I would love to work with celebrities. I love red carpet. And they were like, how about Numero Tokyo? Right. I was like, okay, sure. So they kept pushing this like cool vibe thing on me, and didn't really let me get into the stuff that I really love to do now, that I'm like sort of inching my way into. So yeah, and when you go and interview with agencies your very first time getting an agent, it's really they can be really hard on you and ask you some really hard questions. And it was hard to just be like, no, I'm not like James. No, I don't do hair like this. No, I don't do this. I like things that are, more commercial even. More like normal, more like pretty. I like watching makeup tutorials, and like, I'm not this like cool fashion person that you're trying to make me into. I'm actually like normal. Yeah, that was tricky. I think I still battle that when I meet people.
I think that's really cool, because it's almost like the cool thing to do would be like the cool stuff, right? Like you'd almost feel pressure to be like, yeah, of course I'm going to do Numero Tokyo. Like, that's the cool thing to do. But having the perspective and knowing yourself enough to be like, that's not me. But like, I'm gonna shrug this off and go after something I really like, which is really also cool. Like, it just takes a lot of confidence to do that. And I admire it. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's like a blind confidence.
It's great.
It's sort of like one thing about me is I'm really decisive. You can't tell me that what I want is something different from what I want. I know what I want all the time. And so, and I think that's why my first agent brought me on. It's like, I don't know what you're selling, but I'm buying it. Yeah. Because I'm very clear. And it's important to be that way, because then if you try to attempt to do like upside down and backwards blue wigs and you're not really into it, it's going to look really stupid.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good lesson. I love that you and I got to be friends, and I got to know you as a friend. And when you're friends with somebody, you see their vulnerable sides, and you see a lot of things. But with hair, with you, you've always had that confidence. There was never any second guessing with you with the hair you were doing.
Yeah.
At least not that you communicated.
No, you think you're right. It's my one and only place in life that I'm that way. And I miss working.
Yeah.
I haven't worked in 2 months. I can feel that feeling now. When like some art director says something to you like, oh, we want it to look like this, but we want her to do blah, 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 and you just being like, oh, I know exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. And having that confidence and going and executing it, it feels great.
Yeah.
That feeling is great. That is definitely one of my happy places.
So Tim Howard was your first agency.
Mm-hmm.
And then did that work out?
Well, Tim Howard actually got absorbed into Streeters.
Okay, I didn't realize
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I kept my same agent, Michelle, who was amazing. I kept my same agent, except I'm Holly Mills for Streeters. Mm-hmm. And then they had a mass exodus where they laid off several of their agents and their whole rosters, me and my agent included. But I think I was at Streeters for like a year and a half, and Tim Howard for maybe a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So Tim Howard was like a boutique agency. You know, when I told James, like, I'm going to sign with Tim Howard, he was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah. I
can't believe it. Like, best news ever. He was so happy. It was just like the biggest, most well-renowned, smaller agency. Mm-hmm. So that was like great brownie points. And then they got absorbed by Streeters, and Streeters is massive. Mm-hmm. It was this major name. Oh, you know, just along with just saying the name, you're sort of like, I'm at Streeters. I'm actually a real artist. And then, so that I felt like having that under my belt, going from Streeters, I was going to have an okay time finding a new agent. I was doing really good at the time, right when they let us all go, which made it really easy for me to move on and find someone else that I wanted to work with.
Can I ask about that?
Yeah.
About letting everyone go? What happened?
I can't give you that many details because I honestly don't know. They don't tell us anything.
Okay.
But I showed up for my monthly meeting, maybe every 3 months or something, meeting with my agent. And we had just gotten some like Chanel gift thingies that they had sent us or whatever. So we were like going through that, looking through it, catching up, chat. Oh, by the way, they're firing me, they're firing you, they're firing everyone.
Wow. Okay.
So it was just like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay. I know I would be fine. I was mostly worried about my agent because that's got to be harder to move on. As an artist, we jump around agencies and it's not a big deal. But yeah, she didn't have much insight to tell me. I mean, Streeters was supposed to be bought out by IMG, which owns the Wall Group. And I think last minute they pulled out because it was a bad business deal or something. Okay. I don't really know. So things were going great, and then they were going really bad. And then they were apparently going to go really great with this IMG merge, and then it didn't happen. And now we got to fire all these people. We can't afford you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was hard because you knew it was like whoever's dead, wait. Mm-hmm. Which was confusing to me because that year that I got let go from Streeters, I made the most money I've ever made. So I'm not sure what their mentality was about that, but because it was a really good year for me monetarily, it was easy for me to get an agent. Mm-hmm. You know.
Cool. Yeah.
And I moved on to management artists.
Okay. Nice.
Which are we talking about that?
I don't know. Are we?
Yeah, I mean, I was there for a year. I met the girls there. I really liked them. They kind of messed up a couple jobs for me, and I was planning on moving to LA. Mm-hmm. So I just felt like I gotta go somewhere else that's gonna be in LA, and I'm not feeling so great about this right now. So I moved over to the Wall Group because so much, remember that thing that happened with the Jed Root? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be somewhere where that might happen.
Yeah.
I was scared because I was seeing it happen at Streeters, And then with the merge with Tim Howard, it was like, what's changing? What's changing? Oh, what happened at Jed Root? Oh, now we're all fired. Like, what's going on? What's going on? And I was at management for a year, and I was like, this isn't great. So I moved over to the Wall Group for security, and because I wanted to move more into celebrity. I was working a lot with Chloe at the time.
Yeah.
And I was loving it. So I wanted to move more into celebrity and move to LA. So it was a perfect time to transition into my 4th agency in 5 years.
Yeah. So are you currently with the Wall Group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I have an agent here in LA. Her name's Kit. And I have an agent in New York. His name's Greg. It's amazing because Greg is fashion. And Kit is more like commercial celebrity red carpet. Mm-hmm. So it serves both sides of me at the moment.
So aside from the quarantine, did you hit the ground running when you got here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really great. I had multiple, I had been here for less than 3 days and I had a job. We drove cross country, and yeah, I had been here for less than 3 days, had a job. Then I got a job the next day, and then 2 days later I got another job. And then I was on hold for all these celebrities, which was very nice. None of it happened, but it was nice to be getting all these options and to know that, my name's in the hat. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I worked all the way up until the very end of the quarantine. I did an editorial for Dazed. Cool. And then before that, I did a campaign for Anthropology, which I love.
Yeah.
In this beautiful location in Borrego Springs. It was so gorgeous.
I have no idea where it is.
It's actually really close to San Diego.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I hit the ground running. Cool. Now I'm just worried about going back and what's going to happen.
Yep.
No idea.
No idea. It's super weird.
Hopefully people will remember I do hair and that they can hire me and they can pay me for that.
Yeah, that would help. So has it been good then? Like the transition to LA, are you enjoying your new environment and stuff?
Yeah, we got really lucky. With everything that's going on right now, obviously in New York, it's so scary right now. And I left for all the reasons why it's so scary in New York right now, like the claustrophobia and the tons and tons of people and the people who may not, there's just too many people, in my opinion. I lived in a different apartment every year I lived there, and I lived there for 11 years. I could never find a place that I felt comfortable. Isn't that psycho?
Insane.
There was always something. Yeah. And that's New York for you. Mm-hmm. There's literally always something. You can't just go for a walk to get a coffee. It's there's going to be something. Mm-hmm. And since we moved here, my face hurts from smiling so much. Or at least it did before all the sad news started hitting. Sure. But yeah, the sun does that to me, as it does most people. I came here on a job with my fiance Brant, who works for Jenny Lewis. I was doing her hair for her press tour, mm-hmm. and he was her tour manager, so he was managing her. And we were here together at an Airbnb for 2 weeks with a rental car, and we drove to Whole Foods and loaded up the car with groceries. And I think that was a moment we were yeah, we have to move here.
Was he based in New York?
Yeah, he lived with me in New York.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been together for 3 years.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, he lived with me in New York, and I was like, we should move. He was like, yeah, we should. And here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah. It really is better than New York.
There's things. I got a question though.
Yeah.
Could you have gotten here without New York?
No.
Definitely not. No way.
No.
Okay.
Zero chance. I did this video once. Ooh, it's an airplane. I did this video once. It was like how to become an editorial hairdresser. And it got me thinking about all the things you really have to do in order to do the job that we do, or James does, or, you know, hair for magazines, celebrities in magazines, covers of magazines, all that stuff. And you can't live in Idaho and do this. You can't even really live in like Chicago and do this. You could really try to do it in LA, but I find that the hairdressers that I meet in LA have this certain idea of how the etiquette isn't the same. Mm-hmm. The like understanding who not to talk to, who not to make jokes with or make small talk with on set, who not to give your opinion to, mm-hmm. showing up on time, things like that. It's just different, I feel, in LA as it is in New York. Like in New York, call time's 8, you better be there at 7:30. Traffic doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. You even say the word traffic, nobody wants to hear your excuse. You're late. Nobody cares if somebody was dying or if you got hit by a car on the way here. You just better be here at 8. Mm-hmm. You know, and here in LA, I think it's a little more, there was traffic. Mm-hmm. Or like, you know, it's just a little more like people are nicer and happier here. So they're more comfortable with like talking to whoever. But really on like big, important shoots, you just can't start chatting up like a celebrity's publicist. Mm-hmm. And being like, hey, here's my info in case you ever need me for other stuff. Like, you can't really do that. And I think you only really learn that working in New York.
Has that made it hard for you to find assistants?
I've actually worked with a lot of really nice girls here. Mm-hmm. All my assistants back in New York, they all work at Salon 87. Okay. Do you follow Salon 87?
I don't know. I don't
have to.
Okay.
Oh my God, they're precious. It's a whole Japanese salon. Everyone that works there is Japanese.
I love it.
Okay. And right now in quarantine, they're doing all these amazing videos, and you have to watch it. They're going live. Yeah, you have to watch it. It's great. But all my assistants came from there. Like, I helped a couple of them with their visas and stuff. So like, I'd ask for my main girl, Chica. If she wasn't available, then I'd go with another girl, Izumi. If she wasn't available, I'd go with you, and just so on. Mm-hmm. So I really just tapped into that whole Japanese salon for all my assistants in New York. Yeah. Here, a couple of jobs that I've done, I've had assistants. One girl I worked with, she just complained the whole time. She didn't like the food. She didn't like the way somebody talked to her. I had never encountered anyone like that in New York. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a little more like trial and error here. You just have to meet people. So I'll meet people and then
see if it works.
Maybe not work with them again. Yeah, as an assistant, I mean, it sounds really shitty, but it's nice to get to know you and for you to be there and be a part of it. But like, I was on a job with Cass Bird for Kate Spade, mm-hmm. and I was a little stressed. Mm-hmm. People are like kind of out of my league. I was by far the youngest person working that wasn't an assistant there. And so, just you have to have assistants who understand, you know, now's not the time to talk or complain, and you have to stand like a certain amount of feet away from set. It's really hard for me as a person to be like, hey, can you get off the set? Mm-hmm. You have to stand where nobody can see you. You need to be invisible. Go hide behind that bush. Yeah, it's been tricky, but it'll be trial and error.
Yeah. Well, these are the harsh realities of getting into that world. You know, if you want to assist somebody and be mentored in a way, you kind of have to do this. So
yeah, I think I'm strict like that because of being on all those sets with James. Like, I feel like there's a lot of hairdressers in LA who are way more relaxed than me, and who are like totally cool with whoever doing whatever, no big deal. You can take videos of this person while I'm working on them. You don't have to ask me. Like, I'm not like that because of my background. So I think that's why it'll make it more difficult for me.
Yeah. But I think it's better to play it on the safe side if you're an assistant anyway.
Yeah.
Even if it's been more relaxed.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah. So, well, I want to leave some room for us to do this again. But this was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
had fun.
So obviously people can find you on your Instagram. Are you still doing YouTube stuff, or did you kind of stop?
Oh, I should post all this stuff I've been doing onto YouTube.
You really should.
I was doing YouTube stuff. I was really into it. I got all this equipment, and I built the studio, and then I joined Management Artists, and they were like, "We don't like your content. You should delete it."
Yeah. Okay.
So I did, and that was really disheartening. So
put it back up.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, I just put it on private. But yeah, I might start that up again because obviously I've got nothing to do. And I don't know, you said you were working today. What are you working on?
We were helping a friend move.
Oh, okay. I was like, I would really love to be working right now. Where are you working?
Well, my work has become this right now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to make ends meet wherever possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just been doing videos of my own hair on my Instagram. I mean, it's not even like, I mean, you can check out my Instagram if you're following, but there's nothing new on it. There probably won't be. I don't know when I'm going back to work, but it's going to be after everybody else goes back to work because I've got a autoimmune disease.
What?
Like, I've got a Hashimoto's. It's just a
thyroid, right?
Yeah, I really just don't want to fuck with it. I'm really kind of like in scared mode. Oh, I wanted to say, I don't know if you can leave this in, but since us hairdressers are not working right now, and a lot of us are applying for unemployment, a very good way to give back is to give blood. It's free, it's very safe, and American Red Cross is totally sanitizing everything, but a lot of people need blood. People who have cancer and are going through transfusions and everything. There's just a real shortage of blood right now, and it's free to give.
All right, well, you guys heard that. So.
I know, I told myself I was going to say that. I have someone in my family who's preaching that too, so I wanted to be along with them.
Well, we're always here as a platform for you. I love your stuff. I love what you do, and we obviously need to hang out in person too.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah, we will.
We've got this. Oh, can I turn it around? I'm gonna be like
yeah.
We got a grill.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay.
This is our life now. Is the grill.
That's amazing. I'll bring
this
stuff
back
to grill.
porch and the grill.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that would be great.
It's beautiful. It looks amazing.
All right.
So we'll do a round 2 soon.
Great.
Sound good?
Can't wait.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you soon, Holly. Thanks again.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.